In the last video for this session, I want to talk about branding strategy and the three basic building blocks of branding strategy, which include brand name selection, brand positioning, and brand sponsorship. Selecting a brand name, this is a great exam question. There's several tips. These aren't hard and fast rules that you absolutely have to follow, but they're general tips that you may want to think about when you're selecting a brand name. You want the brand name to be pronounceable to the average consumer. If the brand name is not pronounceable, if it's spelt really weird, people are going to have a hard time connecting with the brand, and that's not going to be good. People are going to shy away from it. They're going to sort of distance themselves from it. So it's really important that you choose a brand name that the target audience that you're trying to attract will be able to say and pronounce. The brand name should be extendable. When companies first start out, they often only have one product in their product portfolio that they're focusing on. But as your company grows, it's very possible that you may have or add new products to your product line, and so you may want to think about whether or not that brand name is actually extendable or usable on other types of products. So, for example, Tim Hortons used to be known as Tim Hortons Donuts in Canada, and over time they dropped the name donuts because that really is now only a small fraction of the overall business that Tim Hortons does. So they worked hard and they rebranded themselves and made the brand name extendable to be able to easily include all of the different products that Tim Hortons now offers to its customers. So can the brand name be used in different variations or different types of products, or is it really for single use only? You should be able to legally use the name. You should need to do some homework to see if somebody else has already trademarked or registered that name for your product category. It's very, very important if you're going to invest in developing brand recognition for your product that you don't, at the end of the day, get slapped with a lawsuit and find out you're not able to use that name. It can be product related or can convey the benefits of the product. For example, things like Burger King, Mr. Clean. There's some products or brands out there where the name that is used conveys some information to the consumer about the product itself. And lastly, the brand name should be distinctive and unique for you and your business. You don't want to be investing in developing your brand among your target audience if that brand name isn't unique to you. Otherwise, what's happening is as you spend money investing in your brand development, you're actually helping other people who have a similar name to you also grow their brand, and you don't really want to do that. Some other branding strategies include brand sponsorship. Products can be branded as national brands, created and owned by the producer of the product. These are all the big brand names that you know, the Nikes, the Toyotas of the world, the McDonald's, the Starbucks, the Tim Hortons. These are brands, Tide, Crest, Kraft peanut butter. These are brands that we typically know and associate with various products. But there's also private brands owned by the reseller of the product. So Shoppers Drug Mart has the Life brand. Sobeys has Our Compliments. Superstore has President's Choice. Sears has Kenmore Appliances. So there are some brands or some stores or retailers that have their own in-house brands that are sold only at those particular stores. Those are called private brands. You can also license your brand, allow other people to use your brand name or parts of your brand in their own products. So when you go and you go to Walmart and you see Disney princesses on a pair of pajamas, it's not because Disney's gotten into the business of making kids pajamas. It's because they've licensed the use of those branded characters to the manufacturer of the sleepwear, and they allow them to do that. And you can also have co-branding. If you ever watch a McDonald's commercial on television, you'll notice that it also features Coca-Cola. They brand themselves together in a way that benefits both organizations. Brand development and management is another important consideration. Whether you're looking at things like extending your product line to include more variations of that product in that product line, you can extend the brand to include different products in the product line. So if you had, trying to think of a good example of that. Well, Apple, for example, has multiple brands. They have the iPhone, they have the Macs, they have the iPods, they have the Apple Watch. So they use the brand Apple to encompass a wide variety of different products. Some companies, though, actually have multiple brands of the same kind of product in their product portfolio. Procter & Gamble is a great example of this. Procter & Gamble are the makers of Tide laundry detergent, the best-selling laundry detergent in North America since it came into the marketplace in around the 1930s or 40s. But did you also know that Procter & Gamble have other brands of laundry detergent that they sell to consumers? They have multiple brands in their product portfolio in addition to Tide, and that's part of their brand management strategy. And of course, you can also introduce brand new brands. The risk, of course, in doing that is that it does take a lot of time, a lot of money, and ultimately you don't know if the brand's going to be successful. So it's very, very risky when it comes to developing brand new brands. So this is just a bit of a breakdown of the different types of branding strategies that you may want to think about. Brand communications. In addition to advertising, brand messages can be communicated in other ways. Your actual experiences with the brand. We all have experiences with brands, and so we come to understand what a brand means based on those experiences. Touch points, various ways you can connect with the brand or be exposed to branding messages, are another way brands get communicated. Brand icons and characters like Tony the Tiger or Toucan Sam or the Jolly Green Giant are all brand icons or characters that have become synonymous with the products that they represent. Brand ambassadors, real people out there who represent a brand. This is not a good example, but Jared from Subway used to be a brand ambassador before he went to prison for child pornography crimes, but he was a brand ambassador. Brand stories. Starbucks is a great example of a brand story. There's a history behind where the name Starbucks came from and how that business came into being and how it grew into the Starbucks that we know today. And that's part of the compelling nature of the brand. There's a reason the logo looks the way it is. It's based on where the brand name Starbucks came from. Branded content. You can brands can sponsor various entertainment type media. For example, when American Idol, I don't know if it's still on anymore, but when American Idol was on television, on the desks of all the judges during American Idol, you saw Coca-Cola products. Coca-Cola was a sponsor for that particular television program, and you were exposed to the marketing messages based on watching the show. Brand stories can be thought of as a form of storytelling. When brand managers tell stories about the brand, the details of the character and the place and the action ultimately form ideas or perceptions in our minds, and it's really a compelling way to develop your brand. It's an excellent strategy for inspiring loyalty amongst customers for a brand that might otherwise go unnoticed. So storytelling and establishing a story or a history to your brand is a great way to reach audiences. This is a great example because it's local. Cavendish Farms tells the story of of um, of its brand by having real PEI potato farmers singing the praises of the Cavendish Farms or and being part of that business um, right here in PEI. Brands and managers, brand managers also must use social media and to interact with consumers. And some brands are really, really good at it. Um, Wendy's does a really good job of their social media account. Starbucks does a good job. Taco Bell does a really good job of their social media accounts. They're really funny. A lot of people follow these brands on social media. And it's really an important way of connecting consumers to your brand and having them interact with your brand via social media accounts. Brand advocates, or we call them evangelists, are people who voluntarily promote brands because they love them so much. They're constantly telling people about how much they love particular brands. They trust those brands and the companies behind them, and they are happy to share that information with people who they know and even who they don't know because they love the brands so much. There's all kinds of brands that really encourage advocates. Things like Harley Davidson really encourage brand advocates. Believe it or not, the Roomba, that um, vacuum robot thing, um, has a huge following of brand evangelists who absolutely love that product and who evangelize about the product on a regular basis.